Hey there everybody on YouTube land, it's LordBear90 coming at you with a very special video review. Why is this video review so special? Well, it's June 25th. Today is my 24th birthday. Woohoo! I've so far had a pretty good birthday. One of my friends who I actually did a video for 2 days ago, Amethyst271, she was actually here today. I was worried that she wasn't going to be able to come out here today to celebrate my birthday, but she made it. I was going to actually have her be a guest in this video, but she had to leave early, sadly, so... Oh well. On to the video review. Now, it's been a while since I've done a Transformers review, and this is actually my second take doing this. So, I'm going to go a little unorthodox as far as this review by actually doing a brand new Transformer. Oh yeah, Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Dinobot Scorn. This mofo is a badass knight with a lance arm that means absolute business. You do not want to mess with this guy, because if you do, he will stab the living hell out of you. And he can also slash you with his really big cleaver sword with a bunch of teeth on the front of the blade. The reason why I actually already have him in his robot mode is because in my first take of this video, I was actually transforming him into this mode for the very first time during the review. So, but unfortunately, somebody tried to call the house, so I had to stop the video while I was in the middle of transforming him. So, instead of doing the traditional route of going from the beast mode to his robot mode, we're going to go in reverse. Mostly because hardly anybody ever does that in their reviews, except for Optibotimus. If you want, and I apologize if my review is not very detailed, but I will do my very best. Now, as you can see, Scorn here, let me actually move the camera back so you can see a little better. Scorn here is, as I said, he is an Autobot, and he is a knight. That means business. He is mostly a maroon reddish color with some gorgeous orange highlights, especially on his upper chest and on his shoulders. He's got these insane fins on his back that are actually the spines in his Spinosaurus mode. He's got some back junk here that locks his waist into place, but I'm one of the few Transformer collectors who worries about waist articulation in a figure, mostly because I don't usually pose my Autobots, or Decepticons for that matter, most of the time, except for my Optimus Prime figures. But that aside, as I said, as you can see, his lance arm is actually the dinosaur tail. It takes up his entire arm, and I don't mind that at all, because as I said, if you were a Decepticon, and you saw Scorn wielding his sword and his lance, and he was charging at you, do you really want to be in his way? I would say not. He has a gorgeous head sculpt. It is very untraditional for the Movieverse toys. Since I actually just got this guy today, I haven't had time to do the head modification in the back here that keeps his head from looking straight instead of just going like that from there. I do plan on doing that in the very near future. I might do an update on him. Anyway, removing his sword, I'm going to actually go ahead and put his sword back in his tail, if I can remember the way it's supposed to go. I think it's this way? Yes, I got it the right direction. Sweet! Like I said, this is the first time I've actually got to mess with him. today, so I apologize if the video is very, very sloppy. To go into his articulation, his head will rotate pretty much all the way around as long as you have it completely flat where he's looking like this. If you try to straighten it up, it will just go like this, like I said, as I just demonstrated a minute ago. But he can look up, but it will actually, it's almost like a spring. It will just, well, of course, Scorn wants to make a liar out of me. His shoulders will rotate all the way around. They're on a universal joint, I do believe. Yeah, this part of the shoulder, the shoulder pad, it's on a universal joint. His actual shoulders are on a universal joint. This is actually the dinosaur mode head. His right arm is the dinosaur head, as you can plainly see. He doesn't have wrist articulation, but if you actually unclip the fist from the dinosaur head, you could say it has articulation that way, but why would you want to do that? His right shoulder will do the same thing on pretty much every joint. He has a bicep swivel there, and his elbows will turn, or, well, his elbows will curl, especially since this being the lance. His legs will go forward and back, in and out like this, and because of the way his legs are designed, he has technically two knee joints on each leg. If you do it this way, it looks normal, but if you bend this one, it looks very, very odd. And that's pretty much all of his articulation. Now, I'm going to attempt to transform him back into his dinosaur mode, so as I said, please bear with me. I'm going to start with the more obvious and put his dinosaur mode head back into its dinosaur mode. You take his hand and you flip it all the way up, and I believe it's supposed to peg. I think it pegs in his head. I guess it just sits there. Okay. And then you close his mouth. You can leave it open a little bit, or you can close it all the way. I just prefer to close it all the way. Then you can go ahead and unclip the throat gullet from the notch, because there's a notch just right there, and it actually goes into this whole section in here that I can't really show you for some reason. There, you can see it just right there. So just go ahead and do that. Flip, turn the arm all the way around where it's facing like this, and then bring the head all the way up where it's facing like that. Take the tail arm and pretty much straighten it out as well. Although on mine, because of the way he's designed, these two pieces, if I can actually get him in frame, these two clips right there are supposed to actually kind of tab into his tail, but I don't see that happening without somehow piercing the rubber. Oh, I guess I have to slide it in. That actually looks a lot better. When I first opened him up, his tail would look like that constantly, and I couldn't get it to do that. Now it'll actually do that now that I got it to work. We're going to worry about his legs last. Take this section here, unclip it, and bring it all the way down. That will free up his dinosaur mode arms. Then you want to rotate the entire robot where he looks like this. Where he looks like this, I suppose. Rotate everything all the way down. And I'm not sure how closed this is supposed to look in this section here, but that's as close as it's going to get. Go ahead and put the spines into the tabs, like so, locking them into place, where he looks. You're pretty much halfway done. Next, you want to take this section that was in the back of Scorn's robot mode and bring it all the way up and lock it into place, locking this entire section in place. Next, you want to take the front and groinal section here, bring it all the way up, and it will kind of tab into the tail, but it's a very loose tab. See, you can easily knock it loose, but I mean, it stays in there. See, I'm shaking him really good. It stays in there when it wants to. Okay, then you take the hip section here and rotate the legs forward so you can actually see this a little bit better. There's a little peg just right there. It's supposed to slot in here, but it doesn't want to grip anything. I'm not sure if it's because the pin is set too far. I mean, I'm pretty sure it could be, but it doesn't hold at all. I mean, you have to make do with what you got. And because it's a very stationary pin, you can't like pull it out to make it a better tight fit. But like I said, you make do with what you got. Next, you want to take these sections here on both legs, these silver sections here, and rotate them all the way up. Next, you want to close the calves on both of Scorn's feet. Take the toes that were the night shoes and rotate them all the way around where he has all three claws for his dinosaur feet. And then finally, you just simply fold the legs up at the knee section on both legs. Get everything adjusted the way that where it looks the most natural. Put his throat section back. Open up his mouth. If I can get my thumbnail in there without scratching up any of the paint. Give me just a second, folks. There we go. Sit him down where he's balanced. And there you have Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Deluxe Class Dinobot Scorn in his Dino mode, his Spinosaurus mode. This peg came up in his shoulder for some reason. There we go. Now, do I recommend picking this guy up? Abso-freaking-lutely. I love this thing. I have actually never owned a Dinobot figure ever. An old friend of mine used to have the Transformers animated Voyager class Grimlock. That was the closest thing to an experience with a Dinobot figure I ever owned, or that I ever had. I never actually owned a Dinobot until now. And I have to say, I am extremely pleased. And as you can see, to quote Vangelis, Scorn's Dino mode is freaking made out of knives and needles everywhere. I mean, there is not a single spot on Scorn that isn't sharp, pointy, or scary, for that matter. Especially the dinosaur head. This is possibly the worst video review I've done in a while. I do apologize. But I do intend on improving my review skills in the very, very near future. However, I was only able to use internet for this week. That's why I actually got to make at least one YouTube video so far this week. I do plan to make a couple more, especially tomorrow after, or actually, I'm going to be making two more videos. One of them is going to actually be Friday afternoon after I see Transformers Age of Extinction. I'm actually going to see the movie tomorrow night for the 9 p.m. showing for the 3D version. A friend of mine who's also really big into Transformers, he's coming to actually get me, and we're going to go carpool to the theater to see the movie. As I said, I highly recommend that you pick this guy up to add to your collection if you haven't already. And even though this is the only Dinobot from the movie I have so far, he's the only figure I have from the movie so far, I highly recommend that you pick up all the Dinobots, especially this guy. This guy has really set the bar, in my opinion, for the entire movie line. I have seen the reviews of the other Dinobots, particularly Slug, Strafe, and Grimlock. So far, we haven't seen Slash. He's the only Dinobot that we haven't seen yet, as far as my knowledge goes. But this has been Lord Baron 90, signing off for now.